Oh, hey. Quite an interesting tripod action going on here. Hello. Hello, person. Tell me who you are. Tell me who you are. Just sharing over in my groups as we do. Because I told them I was going to be going live to talk about this today. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Wow, I look really pale. I look almost ill. It's not good, is it? Hi. Who's there? Who's there? Talk to me. Give me a little hey in the comments if you're hanging around. If you've got any questions about anything vaguely woo, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, then feel free to drop it in the comments. Doink. And I'm just going to pop a link while we wait for some people to jump on. I'm just going to pop a link in here. Hi! Into the comments so that it's there ready to rock. Perfect. Let's close that down. Hi! So I wanted to come and talk to you today about all of the woo-ness. Oh yeah, I love me some woo! And what I realised, having spoken to so many of my clients, and whether it's like my high-end clients or whether it's people who are in like my online programs or whatever, they seem to have this, you know, I didn't really realize it when I first started, but people seem to be drawn to the way in which I introduce woo. And what I noticed about myself, and I was actually journaling about this today, I'm going to write a post on it, but is that I don't think, I mean, maybe more now, but I don't think I come across as particularly woo from the outside. So you wouldn't necessarily see me walking down the street and be like, oh, she clearly charges crystals in the moonlight and goes to sacred dance ceremonies. However, I do both of those things. And I think sometimes I kind of trip myself up on like, who am I? Who am I to like, hey Leah, who am I to, you know, teach all things woo-woo and spiritual? I'm not a shaman. I'm not, you know, like someone who's done years intensive yoga or meditation training or whatever. And so who am I to come online and start talking about spirituality or about all things woo-woo? And actually, I'm not claiming to be a spiritual guru. What I'm actually claiming is to be somebody who has used certain things along my journey, and the more and more that I incorporate these things into my lifestyle, into my work, the bigger the results and the easier it becomes. Like life, making money, getting clients, having an awesome relationship, having great friends, like everything gets easier for me when I start to incorporate a bit of woo. And it's not about wearing a crystal every fucking day. It's not about, you know, riding a broomstick to work. It's actually just about understanding that everything you need is inside of you, and the techniques that I'm going to be teaching you over the 4 weeks starting from Monday, the techniques that we'll be working with and starting to understand and dig deeper into, they might even be things that you're already using in your life and you just don't realize that you're doing them. One of the main things that people ask me when they come and do my EFT training, I've said this before, is they'll ask me like, oh, how do you do that though? How do you do that thing where you just know the right question to ask? Or I'll kind of be standing at the front of the room and they'll just see me do this. And then everyone knows that something weird's about to come out of my mouth. And it's not like I don't hear things, I don't see things, I just have like, it's almost like oh well, isn't this obvious to everyone? Like when I ask one of those questions or like make an observation about something, for me it's like, well, why can't everyone else see this? And so it's only having done this work that I've started to understand that not everyone realizes they have access to all of this cool stuff, that they can all do it, that we all have some kind of intuitive gift, we all have something, whether it's a knowing or like a seeing. And I remember one lady came and did one of my workshops at the beginning of this year, one of my online workshops, and then she messaged me after and she was like, I want to be able to do that for people, that thing that you do. Hey Deborah, hey Greg. It's like, I want to be able to do that with, you know, the thing that you do for other people. I want to be able to do that. And I was like, well, the first thing you have to do is get comfortable with the fact that you're fucking woo-woo. Like, you've got to own that shit. But it doesn't mean that you have to start wearing purple fucking velvet and carrying a crystal ball around. It just means that you've got to own the fact that maybe you do hear things or see things or whatever. Now, for me, it all started because I started using EFT after my friend died, and it felt more like a mindset thing. And I still kind of market myself, I don't really market myself, but as a mindset coach, because I feel like that's what I do. I help people see things differently using the power of their own mind, and that's what I want to do. I want to empower people to hear their own story, to be able to create their own path and see and be aware of their own truth and what they desire to create in the world. But for me, it was learning about mindset helped me unlock the fact that there's so much more at play. It's actually not just about what's happening in here, it's about what's happening in here. And so many people will come to me and ask me for, you know, they'll lay out all of this shit that's going on in their life and all these things that they're unhappy with, and then it's really just a case of me reflecting back to them, well, maybe you don't have to feel that way. Like, maybe you could choose to feel a different way, and it's just that thought process that unlocks something. But also helping people understand that there is, now look, I'm not religious, I want to put this out there, I don't believe in a God that sits on a chair. I don't know why he'd have it. Oh, he can't stand up all the time, his feet would be fucking knackered, especially in those sandals. So, you know, I don't believe in like a person, an entity that like sits there with a beard and goes, yes, you're gonna get AIDS, and yes, you're allowed to be rich. Like, I don't believe that, but I do have an awareness of and a connection to something which is bigger than me, and I don't know what the fuck it is, and I don't need to define it, and I don't desire to define it. It's literally just an energy, a presence. And again, like, there's part of me that even as I'm saying this stuff out loud, I'm like, who the fuck do I think I am teaching this stuff? You know, but actually I am never claiming, at this point anyway, who knows, like 10 years down the line when I've got my certificate saying I'm a spiritual guru, or what the fuck ever you get that gives you permission to talk about it, is that we are all connected to this stuff. Hey Bernadine. So we're all connected to it all of the time, and it's really just a choice. And the language that people use around spirituality is kind of part of the problem. So the reason I call it woo-woo is because I think in some way it kind of makes it lighter and it makes it more accessible for people. And I don't do that on purpose. Hey Hannah, I don't do that on purpose to like dumb it down. Your own spiritual side, you don't need a God to be... Exactly, Greg, and that's totally it, and that's what I want to teach people and what I want to help people understand. Some of the biggest shifts that my clients get is when they fully start to understand that just by writing things down and deciding that they have, you know, that this can happen for them. And like when I teach people about manifesting and how to, you know, be in the energy and live in the energy of it. Hey Sinead, it's really... It can sound so fucking out there, but I think somehow, because maybe, I don't know if it's because I say the words fucking bugger a lot, people seem to think, oh, she seems like a normal-ish person, you know, normal, not too woo. So, okay, if it works for her, maybe it works for me. I don't even know why it is that people are quite happy to go from 0 to woo-woo when they're on one of my programs, but somehow it just magically happens. And I think part of the problem for me when I think about talking about the spirituality side of what I do is that I think there are a lot of like hooks in it. People have made the word spirituality mean something, like religion, or, you know, like, oh, does that mean that I have to, like, you know, go and do sacred dance rituals or put crystals out in the moonlight or whatever? And the answer is, well, yeah, you can if you want, but you don't have to, because actually spirituality is more about knowing that you are always connected to whatever it is that you need. And I guess there was part of me as well that was like, well, you can't talk about spirituality, as I say, because, you know, you haven't got a certificate from Jesus to say that that's okay. But I don't even really know what I would, if I was going to write down like, okay, these are the steps that I follow when it comes to spirituality, or if I want to teach something, I don't even know where I would necessarily start if I was just going to talk to you about it like, this is how I live my life, because it is so ingrained in everything that I do, which is why I've designed this 4-week program that starts on Monday. Because when my mentor was saying to me, what do you really want to teach? What is it that you want to teach that you're not really owning about yourself? And I was like, well, I feel like I am teaching everything I want to teach. But the problem was, and this is what came through to me, was that, come on dog, up you come. Herman's coming to say hello. His name's actually Heinz, but Herman the German, because he's a Dachshund. No, convoluted, I know, bear with me. So when I really thought, like, started journaling into it and tuning into it, just part of my language, but basically what I mean, for those of you who aren't as woo as me, is that I basically ask and I like feel into it, like, how does it feel in my body? Does it feel expansive to talk about sales funnels? No, holy fuck balls, it does not. Does it feel expansive to talk about spirituality? Yes, but there's a bit of fear around it because I don't want people to judge me, not for being spiritual, incidentally. I just don't want people to judge me, look at me and go, she doesn't know what she's fucking talking about. Who does she think she is? And that's what keeps coming up for me around spirituality, which is why I'm doing this live stream and why I'm doing this program, because actually the spiritual side and the energy side is so much more powerful when you combine it with the mindset stuff that I do. If I just did straightforward mindset stuff, I get so fucking bored because it doesn't work as quickly. And when you apply some spirituality to it, it's quite amazing. It like supercharges your mindset work. And why wouldn't you want that? Because the people who come to me are inherently impatient, just like me. I want results like fucking yesterday. Hey Tony, nice to see you, dude. And so for me, it's really about understanding that, yeah, so I've got these certificates that prove that I can do this, that, and the other. But the added extra ingredient that I put in that gets the amazing results is that I'm also putting my unique Noli spin on it, which is the spiritual side of stuff. So a lot of the people who come to me have either done no work with this stuff, as in not knowing they've done any work, or they're already fairly woo, but for some reason, hi Yannick, some reason they're kind of hiding it about themselves. And I really don't know what your reason would be for hiding it, but I'd love to know in the comments below if you feel like sometimes you hold yourself back talking about this stuff or teaching it for some reason. I would love to know what your stuff is in the comments, so please do let me know. But when it comes to like talking about energy and spirituality and, you know, being connected to all that is and the universe and manifesting, it all sounds like this kind of intangible, floofy, woo-woo stuff. But as I say, we're all actually already doing it. Like, you're already manifesting stuff right now. Everything you see around you, you've manifested, you've created, you've called in somehow through your thoughts and your energy. So this is really about helping you understand how you can call in more of what you want rather than calling in the shit that keeps showing up that trips you up all the time. And so when I was talking to my mentor about this, like, okay, what do I really want to teach? What would feel so exciting for me to teach right now? It was more of the woo-woo stuff. And that's why I've designed this program that starts on Monday. So if you've got any questions about anything woo, I'd love to know. On the program, we're going to be covering, oh my goodness, so much. we'll be kind of, I'll do some card readings and stuff in there, but that isn't really for me. Doing, you know, like pulling cards for people and things is kind of fun because it's like I get to play with reading people's energy, which is something that I just do naturally anyway. And like the cards are almost something to just hide behind. In a way, they're like or like a conduit to help me get someone to be honest about how they're really feeling or whatever. But ultimately, the course, although it's going to have 4 modules and there's going to be 4 live trainings that happen in the Facebook group, the rest of the content's really going to be driven by the people who sign up, because as with all of my programs, I have a rough idea and I have the download of what is going to happen over this week, what the result's going to be. But ultimately, the exact content doesn't come to me until pretty much sometimes even like the day before I do the training. Sometimes I know what the subject's going to be, but I have no idea what I'm going to talk about until I go on and I just start talking, and then it comes out. And because the people on the call and the people in the group kind of their energy determines what we end up talking about and working through. So I've just learnt to trust that. And there was a time when, and this is something that we can also talk about if it is needed in that group, is that when it comes to creating, whether it's, you know, artwork, whether you're a writer, whether you're a coach and you want to create programs and offerings and you don't know how to put them out into the world or how to package your genius, really, it's not about learning something from outside of you. It's not about going to a course that's going to teach you how to make everything look shiny and perfect. It's about asking inside how in the flow, lovely. I know, Deborah, totes in the flow, you know me. And it's really just about understanding that if something comes through me, like over the next 4 weeks, like if I decide that there's a meditation that needs to be done in the group, then I'll do a meditation. You know, if there's some kind of energy reading that needs to be done, I'll do that. And this is the thing, like, as I'm saying this, I want you to understand that when I talk about reading someone's energy, I don't mean that I sit there and go, right, okay, let me just breathe this in. Let me just take a moment and connect. I'm not going to start talking in fucking tongues or light language or anything. I'm literally, not there's anything wrong with that, but it's just not the way I do things. But it's really just about knowing, like, when I read something, I'm reading the words, but there's an energetic subtext that comes with it. And that's going in as well. It's just like another piece of information that my brain is processing without me actually having to ask anything. So it's not like I need to sit there and have you hold your palms out and, you know, chant with me or anything. It's not like that. It's just we'll have a conversation and I'll just kind of know the right thing to say for you or the right question to ask. So if you want to experience this in a bigger way, then do come and join me starting on Monday, which the program is called How Woo Are You? Because obviously I like to add a little sprinkle of humour and frivolity to everything that I do, as you may have noticed by now. And I am going to be guided as much by the people in the group as I am by my own desires for the program. So please know that it's almost a collaboration, in as much as, although there's going to be 4 subjects that we'll kind of look at and 4 different ways of using your woo-woo and developing it, it's also going to be very much guided by the people in the group, because I love to know where you're going. And as I say, without even realizing it, I'm going to be understanding and picking up on what needs to be taught, what needs to be, you know, what do we need to delve into deeper? What do you need to know more of? And there are going to be things that I don't even know I'm going to teach you yet. But I am. Because if it's what you need, then it's going to end up in the program. So anyway, if you've got any questions about How Woo Are You, feel free to ping me a private message or comment below. And the links are in the first comment underneath. And yeah, just let me know. I hope you join me. I'm so excited. I'm nervous because this is the first time that I've done something quite so woo and quite so openly woo, and without the kind of business spin. Because what I tend to do is, without realizing, I've kind of hidden the woo within other things, like, oh, okay, so let's make more money, or oh, let's get more clients, or let's understand how to message better and get your message out there in a new and exciting way, or get more visible, or whatever. And this is just completely woo for the sake of woo. This is woo for the sake of delving deep, connecting to your purpose, because when you are connected to all things woo, you are more and more deeply connected to yourself and your soul's purpose. And as I found out last year, I followed the rules. I followed the rules I was given, and I made money, and I had clients, and I had ideas, and everything was going great. And then when I crashed and burnt in the summer and got depressed and had anxiety attacks, it was because I had just completely disconnected from what I really wanted to be teaching. And what I really want to be teaching is this. So that's what I'm going to do. And who am I to teach this? I'm Georgina motherfucking Knoll. That's who I am. And so I get to teach whatever the fuck I want and whatever comes through me. And I want to help you feel confident to do the same. So come and join me. If you've got any questions, PM me or drop comments below, and I will get back to you as soon as I see them. Because as you know, I'm a Facebook addict, so I don't go long without seeing what you've written. Am I right? Awesome. I'll see you in the group. Bye-bye.